Everybody, a very warm welcome to you, Ajay and Rohil, and to all our participants who have joined in and are still joining in from the various parts of India, from various colleges. A very warm welcome to you all. My name is Damayanti, and I work for the Maker Bhavan Foundation. Before we sort of go into this today's talk on Just Make It, I want to take a couple of minutes to tell you about the Maker Bhavan Foundation. So we are a California-based charity, and although we are based out of California, all our programs are in India. And what we do in India is that we work with science and engineering colleges to build maker spaces. And the way I see it, to make engineering education more hands-on and more fun. We have a number of programs. I don't want to go over all of them in detail, but the focus of all these programs is to introduce project-based learning into the engineering curriculum. And also we have also a program which is focused on soft skills. So the long-term goal is that when students graduate out of the institutions, they have both deep technical engineering skills as well as soft skills, so that as graduates, they are job ready for their life. This is in a very short, a little bit about the Maker Bhavan Foundation. I would also like to introduce our host, Ajay Lavakare, to all of you. Ajay has had a very long and distinguished career starting, he's an alumnus from IIT Delhi, and he started his career at the Silicon Valley, working at industry there. He's a successful entrepreneur himself. He's the founder of RMSI, which was later on sold to Daily Mail, a very well-known US leading media enterprise. He's also had a very long and distinguished career in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. He was the founding member and past co-president of Stanford Angels. He's been a part of the Indian Angel Network with TIE. He's himself an investor as well, and his investments in companies range from the healthcare sector, in edtech startups, AR, VR, B2B enterprises, and the whole range. He is also a charter member of Indus Enterprises, TIE, and he's been a mentor through NASCOM and the other, Stanford Angels and Indian Angel Network as well. Ajay, this is a quick introduction and a brief summary. Over to you to introduce Rohildev to the audience.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Damayanti, and I'm quite very excited to kind of be the interviewer and the host to Rohil, who is our second guest in the Just Make It series. So welcome, Rohil. Looking forward to maybe 20 or 25 minutes of conversation between the two of us. The students and other participants in this webinar will hopefully put their questions as we have our conversation in the chat box, so that we can then have 15 minutes at the end for addressing questions that come from the audience. So very briefly, Rohil is the founder and tech CEO. So I'm going to ask you why you're tech CEO and not just CEO of Nemo Planet. And he started Nemo with the vision to create the world's best productivity computer to help people work from anywhere. He's a graduate of Kathir College of Engineering. He has done one startup before Nemo Planet, which is Neya, and I'm sure he'll talk about the learnings from Neya as well. And Rohil, over to you to add to that introduction and tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up, and what were some of the things that shaped the person that you are today?
Thanks, Ajay. Thanks, everyone. So I'm Rohildev. So my startup journey started uh, even during my college, right? So I'm super passionate about building new technologies that connect human with digital world. Uh, so during the college, even before the college, I used to build small software applications, and then I used to think, why don't we have a better interface that we can connect with personal computer without using keyboard and mouse? So I tried to think different way than the traditional software, more into interaction and new computing devices. So that's drive me into take more risk towards new technologies and hardware. I finished computer science engineering, but I'm passionate about software design and hardware. So it's kind of, I learned all these last years. It's all like, tapping that new problems and just get into that and learn. So it's been like more than 9 years I've been working on these two startups just after the college. Uh, yeah, so that's a story in the last couple of years, and I grown up in a small village in Kerala, and I'm the first person took engineering from my entire family, right?
Wow,
So,
yeah, very impressive.
but it's all like I got chance to use computer when I was in eighth standard, and I just fell in love with that, and I tried to learn more into computer and programming. So that's drive me to take engineering because I don't want to go anywhere else. I just want to get software engineering. So luckily I got into that. And when I joined the college, I was we are the first batch in that college, right? It's a
Okay.
pretty new college.
Okay.
And that's kind of give a lot of opportunity as well to build softwares and different technologies for the college and for my personal growth.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's about a little background, Jay.
Yeah, so you are building a product, and we'll come to Nemo shortly. You're building a product that is like everything from its hardware, it's a wearable, it has its own operating system, so you have software as well, and that's a
Yeah,
very complex undertaking. I mean, software is sort of hard, and then hardware is really hard, and then to integrate to come together to build a wearable is even harder. So kudos to you for taking on, like, I think the ultimate challenge in building a product. So tell us, Rohil, about kind of what inspired you. What is the origin story behind, first Neya? Is that how it's pronounced, Neya?
yeah.
And then Nemo. Like, every entrepreneur has a story, right? They observed a problem
Yeah.
somewhere, either in their personal life or otherwise. So, and that's what triggers the idea. So tell us a little bit about the origin story of both Neya and Nemo.
Sure. So when I was in college, I stayed in a room with four people. So we used to watch movies on laptop, right? So when you want to seek anything or change volume, you need to go back to the keyboard and mouse and do the interaction. So I thought, why don't I sit wherever I'm sitting and make a gesture to control it? This was in 2011. So
Mhm.
I built a gesture-based interaction using webcam, the cam on the laptop that recognized the finger movement and convert into gestures. So now I can change volume by doing up-down gestures or left and right to seek the video. But I integrated that into a new game that I built, a simple game, and a website I built. I can scroll the website using hand gestures. Then I found, like, when I do all these interactions, the people around me, they start
Mhm.
laughing. What
Mhm.
this guy is doing, just hanging around with the hands. I feel like those kind of interactions are super inspiring in the movies, but not in the real world. I thought how I can make those interactions simple and invisible. So that's how, after college, I come up with an idea of the ring. So the ring we can wear on the thumb or index finger and
Mhm.
make the gesture just inside the palm. I don't need to do this kind of actions. So again, till that I was building software, the computer vision, all those things.
Yeah.
But to solve this problem, I need to build a hardware. So the first prototype I built using a mouse and its optical sensor. I took out that sensor and put it on the thumb and connected with an Arduino. So now if I swipe, I can recognize the gestures. So that was the first prototype of Nea. And then we talked to a lot of investors. We tried to connect with a lot of investors. We need little money to advance the prototype. And by that time, I also got a chance to get into Startup Village. So Startup Village was in Cochin. It's just opened in 2012. And the vision of that team was any people, like students, they can come over to that space and use free Wi-Fi at space and build something, right? It's completely free. So I get into that, and we were like 5 startup at that time. So that space really helped me to get more resources from the people they built Startup Village. And also I learned, like, at that time I was connecting investors in Kerala network, but no one understand the hardware, no one want to take the risk. So I started connecting people outside Kerala through LinkedIn. I don't have a connection directly, so I use LinkedIn. So that's how one of the investor I connected, Rudesh Malik. He's the founder of Innovate Co-working. And we had a Skype call, and he liked the idea. And after 1 week, he came to Cochin with a check of 20 lakhs. And that money we used to build a fully finished prototype. And we started playing for international platforms. Again, we need like more connections to build the hardware and get into bigger network to raise more money and take into the market. We got selected into TechCrunch Hardware Battlefield, and that's a big platform that we got. And that's how first time I came to the US during CES, and we selected as one of the top 15 hardware startup. End of 2014, we raised $3 million from Kalari Capital, which we built a well-finished prototype, and also got some revenue through crowdfunding. End of 2015, we mass-produced the smart ring from Japan, around 7,500 units, and launched it in the US market with Brookstone, Bloomingdale's, Target, Sky Mall, Selfridges, Albertsons store in New York. And we shipped around 4,500 units. Okay. So this is the ring that we built.
Yeah, so I saw some just of it in like a fancy retail store somewhere in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a simple ring that we designed to control smart home and automobile, other IoT-based devices. One ring to rule all. And but in 2016, everything just went really bad. So I had 2 advisors in the company that I hired just before the funding, 1 year before the launch, and I trust them completely. So I give out I signed the manufacturing contract through one of the advisor, and also give out the inventory access. So when they got everything, they start pushing the team, me and other people from the company. So the biggest mistake I did, I get around people and I give out the core technology and manufacturing access just because they were like down to earth, right?
So they pushed you out of the company that you had built. You gave them control that enabled them to basically exit you out of the company.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that must have been really hard. But let's get to Nemo, because I'm also conscious of time. So tell me about the origins of Nemo, and if we can keep it a little short, we'll get a few more questions in before we turn it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Just after Nea, so one of the core reasons I built Nemo, I used to travel, and most of the time I tried to get my work done from smartphone and tablet. And I found like, these devices are portable, but not designed for productivity. And we don't have any other devices. So I thought, why don't we design a device that's super portable, that fit in our pocket, but also help me to do the work from anywhere better without compromising productivity. And 2017, I choose the glasses as a form factor that we can solve this problem because we can make the glasses super sleek and portable. And since it's close to our eyes, we can deliver multiple bigger screen experience, right? So, and we don't have an operating system at that time that we can just use and put it on the glasses. So we had to build something. So we built a customized top of Android. We used the very base AOSP and we'll build a new framework, optimized rendering system, memory optimization, CPU, everything that fit into super small form factor. And it's been like more than four years now. We built multiple prototypes and the total fund that we raised in more than 4.9 years is just $300,000. And we have 10 people team. And finally, we built world's first fully standalone and beautifully designed computer, right? It's a full computer. I don't need a phone. I don't need a laptop. Everything is inside. When we put it on, we can access up to 6 screens, and we support apps like Microsoft Office, Slack, Jira web browser. For interaction, we support Bluetooth mouse and keyboard or smartphone and voice.
Okay. Yeah. So just to confirm, so this is a mixed reality experience, right? The technology.
No. So actually, we won't call it like AR, VR, or MR. So we call it like it's a new computer for productivity.
Okay.
So the reason is like mixed reality. The concept is we identify the real world and put digital objects that top of that, right? And we are not doing that. We are doing like projecting the multiple screens just in front of the user. There will be some depth, but they see like 2D multiple screens around them.
But do they also see the real world, or they only are they lost in the? So they do see the real world.
They do the real world, and it's the screens will float on the air. That's that's what we feel.
Got it. Okay. So Rohil, walk us through your the phases or the steps, right? Because to build such a complex product, you must have taken a number of small steps. And I think for even all of the members of the audience, I'm sure everyone's keen to know, how did you get from an idea to this beta that is almost going to be released but early next year? So if you can, and feel free to get a little technical if you want to go through kind of the proof of concept or the prototyping to your MVP.
Sure. See, to build even with a prototype, we need some money, right? And especially we are using like new display technologies, and we need to make everything small, form factor, etc. So when I had the concept, we created a deck with a vision. There was some graphical images. This is what we want to build. And we start talking to investors. We send emails and LinkedIn requests to more than 700, 800 investors. And luckily, I got connected with 2 investors, Ravi Linkanuri and Raghu Linkanuri, based in Bangalore.
Okay.
They loved the idea. They liked
just based on your deck. You had nothing
just
to
based
show
on
them
the deck.
on the deck.
No. And I went to Bangalore and we had a chat in a coffee shop, and it's done. They agreed to put $60,000. So that's the first check we got in 2017.
But let me ask you one quick question to interrupt. Sorry, but is it because you had built a product before that they gave you this check based on your deck? I mean, if this was your first product, do you think that they would have cut out a check that easily? Because you had a bit of a track record where you'd built another hardware kind of wearable device, and that made it easier for them to support you, I think. But
so that definitely added value because we've proven that we did something in the previous. So that's definitely added value, and then and also they see, we reached out to more than 700, 800 people, and we just got like two people, right? So
that's like a point.
You can understand, like, because every time when I connect with investors, they first talk about Google Glass failed in the space, right? And that's the biggest question I used to get. But these people, this is all like, there will be someone that believe in our vision and the idea. We need to keep looking to get there. Yeah. So after getting that money, within 1 year, we built the first prototype. But the first prototype was like so big, multiple wires. I need to carry a big box to show the demo. But what I did is immediately after that demo, I traveled to US.
So the prototype, just to be clear, the prototype, the first one, was everything done in India and did you do everything in-house or did you outsource, like design, all the components? I'm sure some of them would have been from outside, from Asia, but what all was done here versus outside?
So everything in terms of the design we did in-house, and we designed the PCB in-house, and some of the components that we brought from outside, some modules, like for example, the processor that we were using, we took a SOM. So we get like processor with RAM, ROM, Wi-Fi, everything SOM with a low cost. So we took that, and we start building the custom OS.
Okay. And were you thinking about like the industrial design aspect? Were you thinking about the aesthetics, color in your first proof of concept, or were you just wanting to show, that this could work?
So the first prototype, we didn't put too much effort on the aesthetics. The agenda was to create the proof of concept, so make it simple as possible. So, but after finishing that, we start deeply putting a lot of effort to envision what we want to make that in the next couple of years that people can really use, right? So the design that you are seeing here, this concept is actually we drawn in the drawing boards in 2018.
Okay.
Right. Then we were aiming to get this form factor from that 2018 onwards, right? Okay. So that's kind of driving us to what we want to focus and build.
Yeah. And how many rounds of POCs and prototypes did you do? Like POC and then engineering prototypes before you got to the beta? How many iterations?
It was 3 iterations on the last more than 4 years.
Okay. And what about user involvement? Could you talk a little bit about involvement of users in this journey?
Oh yeah. So whenever we finish the prototype, especially I would travel to the US to meet potential enterprise customers and individual customers, and we used to do a lot of demo. That really helped us to make the next iteration better. Because the biggest problem with wearable is you need to make sure the device is actually wearable. It should be comfortable to wear, right? So otherwise, there's no point in anything that we build, any technology that can use it. So we took that and we tried to do a lot of demo and collect feedback, and that took that feedback and optimized for the next iterations.
Yeah, got it. So you've been through a journey of ups and downs. We've already heard some of the shocking things that happened to you in your first venture. But tell me, Rohil, and tell the audience, what are some of the challenges you faced trying to build a sophisticated wearable device out of India, and also being an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur who has been, who's had to look out for money and go searching. So talk us through some of the challenges you faced and, what some of the low points have been in your journey and how you've come out of those.
Sure. So I think there's two ways we can build hardware, right? So one, took multiple things, maybe more than 90% of the components from what exists in the market, right? For the use case that we want, or problem that we want to solve, and build the software around it. So the package will be super simple and easy to launch or create MVP. So that approach will work on certain problems, not all the problems, right? But that approach will get more money easily because we can show the prototype very quickly to the investors. Second one, problems that we cannot solve with all the components that exist in the market. Maybe we can choose like 20% of the components from the market, rest we need to build, and also the software. So that was our case. So it was like too challenging to create something and make that investors and people believe to put the money, right? I mentioned like when we show the first prototype, it's so hard for people to believe that big thing we can make like a super small that somebody can wear, and Google fail in this space, right? So that's the problem that or somebody is trying to solve. They can choose what direction they want to go with. Second one, there's a lot of challenges to build hardware from India, right? Yeah. Simple things like, give an example. If you want to make like super optimized PCB, for example, it's so hard to get that kind of manufacturing companies from India to do that. Second one, if you're doing from outside India, there's too much headache to get something in India through all the shipment, customs, and you don't believe, like, if you are shipping something for $1,000, you need to pay more than close to $500 or say duty, different ways, right? So those challenges are definitely there. That's the reason we need some money to start the hardware company, either from colleges that people are studying, some grants, or some other way. So those are some challenges. And second phase, once we build the prototype, second phase, the challenge is going to be to choose the right manufacturing company, right? If you don't have a right manufacturing company, we will lose a lot of time, quality will be really bad, and a lot of money, right? So to crack that, either if you get into any accelerator, hardware accelerator, which is well and good, it's boost the process and save a lot of time. If you're not getting to that, connect with some founders. They are in the hardware space, so they can refer hardware companies or manufacturing companies they use, which will also save a lot of time and money.
So one of the questions from Pratham is, where do you currently manufacture your product from?
So we design everything, like the frame, PCB, everything in-house. And we use a fabrication company in China because we have a complicated PCB, So we put just this space, just this much is the full computer with Wi-Fi, BLE, Qualcomm XR1 processor, RAM, ROM, head tracking sensor, everything. So to get that form factor, we need fabrication is complicated. So we use the Chinese-based company. So they make the PCB and they make the assembly of the PCB, and we get it into Kerala. And all the frames that we get it done with another vendor in China. And we do all the assembly and integration with the software in-house for now.
And did you work with a outsourced design firm, or is the design still done in-house?
So all the design concept, drawings, everything that we do in-house, to make it in a CAD, we used a company that's based in Bangalore. Okay. And the same thing for the hardware. We do all the schematic design and everything in-house. And we used a layout design team based in Bangalore to design it. So that's how we can save a lot of time and experiment for in-house hardware team in the prototyping phase. So we need to crack something, then we need to, there will be some time to make the second iteration. So hiring in-house people will, if you have a co-founder who can design the hardware, that's well and good. Otherwise, we can better to choose third-party company.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm going to request the audience to start typing in their questions because we're going to start moving to audience Q&A. So if you can start putting questions just like Pratham has done in the chat window, then we can start taking those one by one. Okay, so two questions. You talked about hardware accelerators, and the question Pratham had is like, what are hardware accelerators? Maybe you can answer that in the context of, did you join a hardware accelerator? And what are some of the other resources that you would recommend to students who want to build a product? Like, what are the resources that they could look to get going?
Sure. Okay, can you just recap the first question?
Oh, we talked about hardware accelerators, right?
Okay,
that one support resource for you.
Sure. So I used to apply to accelerators like Hacks, Highway 1, Bolt, Boost VC from day one, but I didn't get it. Right? Some reason they feel like this product is too complicated, and they're going to be competition in the future, like Apple and all these companies going to be making glasses. But that's true. But it's a big market, and the focus that we have is enabling people to work from anywhere. That's a unique approach none of the big or small companies are not done yet. And all the big companies are focusing to build mixed reality and metaverse. And that's a completely different market. So now when we build this beta and showing to the investors, they are getting it. But that was not the case previously. So I didn't get into accelerator, but I know some friends, they got into accelerators and they got really good support. Accelerators like Hacks, YC, Highway One, Bold VC, etc. And Brink as well.
Sorry, I was on mute. So I think Shravan had a question on hardware design. I think you did answer that. He wants to know who does the hardware design. Do you guys do it in-house or do you?
We did in-house.
Yeah. Okay, there aren't any more questions coming in yet. So let me just ask you one more question while the audience thinks about more things they want to ask you. What are some of what is the advice you would give the audience? Let's assume a third year engineering student at an IIT or one of the other engineering colleges wants to build a wearable or a hardware product. And they come to you and say, Rohil, we want advice. What are the 3 or 4 things you would tell them that are like the most important things you think they should know about?
So one of the things really helped me is the focus, right? So from day one, we had just one focus, which is create world's best productivity computer that enable people to work from anywhere, right? So everything that we design, every decision that we make, which is towards that specific focus. And I know like there are a lot of companies, or especially if we are building hardware and if we are trying to do a lot of things into hardware or not have a specific focus, that's going to end up like, one, utilize too much time, burn a lot of money, and it will also confuse the customers. And you cannot build a brand that just one thing that people can easily remember, right? So the way we position everywhere, you can see we just positioned as a new computer that help you to work from anywhere better, right? So Nemo is a productivity computer. That's a message that everywhere that you can see. We are not saying like we are ARMR or we are a company. So if you have any problem that we are choosing, if you choose that focus and make sure you have like enough customers or people like
so
which is there to
focus for your product is one key thing. Any other quick tips?
I think that's one of the things really helped me. Nothing else.
Okay. So there are a bunch of questions in the Q&A on teams. Okay, so how many people in your team are involved in developing the product versus, there's specially qualified team members required for building it. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the people in your team, their skills and how you've organized your company.
Sure. So we are a total 10 people team. All the technical team, all the people that I hired on the technical side, they were interns in 2017. They all just came into Nemo just after the college, but they all like super passionate, and they individually have like different skills. They can solve the problems. Especially the person Finil, who is heading the OS. He take care of everything in the OS side, and he crack the problems. He just learn and just make the things happen. Shinil, Richu, everyone, Nidesh is into design. So every little details of the design, me and Nidesh will review, and we will make sure, because we don't want to compromise on the design. So we just make sure we are doing right in terms of the design, everything from product design to UI and everything.
But you have people who were specialized. So for example, is X only responsible for design, Y is only responsible for the OS. So did you specialize even in a small team?
Absolutely. And my job is to work with the design team, hardware team, and the OS team.
Bring them. Yeah, got it. Great. There's another question on the team, which is how do you attract people? How do you get the right people? Why will they come and work for you? So there's a bunch of questions around. So maybe you could talk about your story. How did you attract 8, 9 other people to come and work with you?
So all the initial people that I connected, majority of them through friends and friends, like mutual friends that I get to know, and we had conversations. And a few people I connected through online, like we use LinkedIn and Stack Overflow to connect software guys. But now we are getting more interest from a lot of people. More than 1,000 people, they applied for Nemo in the last 2 months, right? Because they really liked what we did. We are not just talking about some graphical vision now; it's reality. So we are getting much better interest compared to
now. But let's say just to get more insight. If I was applying to your company when you were just 4 people and how would you pitch? And you had to pitch to me, right? Because you're not the most attractive company to work for. What would your pitch be to me?
First of all, we were not getting any inbound interest at that time. So I reached out. I tried to connect with people. They building something in the oil side, something contributed open source, or the. I reach out all these people and have a conversation. And so my pitch would be: see, we are building the future of computing. We are now with the first prototype, and we are this is going to be like competition with all the big companies and small companies. But it's a completely new product that changed the way people work, right? And whatever you did in the previous companies, that's here. You're gonna have 1000x opportunity to work on new technologies. And also I talk about the future vision and future plans that I have, some of the direction. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, makes sense. Thanks for that. So one more question is, when is the interaction with investors? So, how did you pitch to them? What was the feedback you got from them, both negative and positive? And how did you learn from that feedback and improve your pitch?
Sure. See, first of all, I don't have a very well connection in the initial days, right? So most of the time we reached out with cold LinkedIn messages or email. I got LinkedIn as a good platform to get a reply from investors, and at least we'll get a call and they just spend time to understand more about the product. So most of the times we got rejections because, one, we are into hardware space that's too risky, and especially it's a smart glass, even more riskier. Second one, some people, they feel like a competition, Apple, Google, all these people going to be in space. So how are we going to compete? And speed will be hard. It's all like in the initial days, right? But all those things still completely changed when we are now with the beta. So what we did in the previous years, when we rejected from all the big VCs and investors, we connected with small investors, small angels. They can put like $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. And
these were Indian angels, or were they outside? They were Indians living outside, because you're talking about dollars. So
mostly Indian lives in outside, and some investors in India as well.
Okay.
That little money that helped us to make progress. And now we are in a better position that we can show we are build something really great, and we can also show good traction that people are reserving Nemo, enterprises are joining an enterprise program, and developers are joining.
Cool. Yeah, great. So then there's a question on feasibility of manufacturing at the design stage itself. So the question is like, how do you ensure at the design stage that your design is going to be manufacturable? Are there decision tools available to guide on DFM?
So most of the time, see, there will be tons of problems to get into DFM, right? So we need to fix it. So when we build for example, when we build the ring, so we have gone to the complete phase of mass production, right? So when we step into EVT and TVT, PVT, we will get to know what are the problems that are going to be that's not scalable, the design, what we need to optimize. But those are the issues that are fixable. We need to put some thoughts and effort to fix it, and maybe some changes on the design that need to make, some components that need to change to make that like easily mass producible. And that's one thing. But one of the biggest advice I will give when you are stepping into mass production, from the EVT stage, EVT means electronic validation testing. That's the first phase towards the production. From that day itself, engage with the contract manufacturer, because they know what's gonna go wrong and what's need to be right when you produce millions of units. So even with Nemo, I'm doing that. We got one of the best contract manufacturers in the world, and they believe in our idea to support. So they got experience in scaling production into millions of units. So their expertise really going to help us to optimize the design for DFM.
So I had one more question on this, because one of the challenges for startups is to attract a great contract manufacturer. They want to see large volumes, right? That's where they're going to make their money. So how do you get a well-known manufacturer to agree to invest with you in doing your first, low volume production runs? Because for that for them is an investment. They're not going to make money, and they don't even know if you're going to get past the low volume production and go into mass manufacturing. So for them, it's a risk. So how did you convince your well-known manufacturer to believe in you and to go through that process right from your first low volume batch itself?
Oh yeah. So it's actually happened after our beta launch. See, what they want to see is this product is valuable and people really liking it or not, right? So after the beta launch, we actually got really good traction through LinkedIn and other social media that people are talking about Nemo. A lot of people tried and sharing feedback. And the approach that we have with the product, the technology already built, and the vision and the focus that we have is completely unique compared to other companies that are making glasses. So it's a combination of, we already validated there's a need for this product. And second, we executed well because we built something already. It's not talking about just basic prototypes. And we also putting effort in the design. It's not like just bare prototype stage right now. It's like something designed well. So they really like the approach and the execution that we already did in the last couple of years. And that really helped us to get them on board.
Yeah, great. Oh, I think these are really important points that you're making, because in fact, the manufacturing stage is as or more important, frankly, than the design. The design stage is fun and it's sexy, but the manufacturing phase is where the rubber really meets the road, right?
Right.
So I'm going to take two last questions. So one is Shalini has asked, if we're outsourcing concept development and design by paying it to a freelancer or a design firm, who retains the IP?
Okay, so see, most of the time you will have the concept and you come up with what the product, how the way the product want to be, right? So in our case, we did the concept, we did the drawings, the way we wanted, what kind of form factor we wanted. So everything that we have really good plan, and we file patent with to that design, right? So then we give out or engage the contract manufacturer to make that drawing into the CAD, and they also put a lot of effort to optimize it. Definitely, IP going to be owned by the company.
Yeah, I agree.
So there will be a contract between that company and our company, so that clearly says everything that they're designing will be assigned to the company.
No, I totally agree. So yeah, I mean, my own experience, since I'm also involved in a wearable startup is that absolutely the IP remains with you, the entrepreneur, and the designer might ask for example, marketing, or they might try to push you to say, well, can we may retain the rights in some other application that is not competing with you, and you should be very, very clear about what rights, IP rights, if any, you're giving them. But in general, it's your idea, it's your concept, and all IP should stay with you. So
Absolutely.
The last question is from Sanket, and Sanket says, so this is more of a kind of a broader question about, we have lots of ideas, and how do we choose which idea to run with, because we have so many ideas. And then, for example, he's asking, how did you decide on the idea of gesture control and that you do it as a ring? So I think it's this, like, how do I decide which one to pursue? I have so many ideas.
Got it. So even before I starting the ring, I actually did multiple other projects during that time in 2011 and 12. So one was a augmented reality virtual room. So people can stand in front of the TV and using Kinect, identify the body and put the virtual jewelry. And I talked to the customers and in Kerala, so they told like, hey, Kerala is want to touch and feel gold. They don't want virtual thing, right? So that's kind of, you build something that very quick with the idea that you had, and you validate it, and you got to know that doesn't work. Immediately change, right? So what you can do is, if you have five ideas, you should believe like something that one of that should be like that you really like, right? Yeah. The best one that you like, and just try it out. If it doesn't work, immediately change. And the story of Nemo, it was actually my problem. I want a new computer that I can work from anywhere. I don't need to carry a big laptop to do the work. So that was my problem, and I want to fix that. And I believe there's tons of people, they also have the same problem, so they can use Nemo. And by the way, in 2017, a lot of people didn't get the complete hybrid or remote workspace, but COVID just completely boost that thing. Now people can understand the need of a new computer that really enable people to work from anywhere.
So we're going to end. This is really fascinating, Rohil. Thank you for being very candid with, sharing so many insights in your journey. What to me is quite shocking what happened at Naya, but hopefully you've learned a very important lesson from that, and you're managing your team and advisors and your own control of the company better in your second phase. And there are a couple of questions about whether you'd be willing to share your email ID, or whether you'd be willing to act as a mentor. Specifically, can you help with hardware prototyping? So I don't know how you want to address that, but we'll close with you answering that question.
Sure, I can drop my email. I will. Is that a way I can send an email?
Yeah, put it in the chat. So if you put it
in,
and address it to everyone, then they'll be. And then what about your time? I mean, you're like super busy with getting your beta out in the next 9-12 months. So are you going to realistically have time to help students with their prototypes and give them feedback? Do you enjoy doing that?
So maybe I cannot completely hands-on with the prototyping, but I can, if they need any help, like connections or connect with manufacturing prototyping firms. So I can do all those things, and also some feedback. I can give that. So I just drop my email, so they can reach out to me. So by the way, we actually finished the beta. So what we are doing right now is to make another 50 to 100 units of it. So in next 2-3 months, we can ship to all our existing customers.
Oh, okay.
And the final product, we are expecting Q1 or Q3 2023. That we can mass produce.
So I was under the impression that the Q1 23 was your beta launch. Okay, got it. Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much, Rohil. I hope you enjoyed this conversation.
Absolutely.
I thoroughly did. Always fun chatting with an energetic, young, ambitious entrepreneur. I hope our audience enjoyed this conversation as well. and we look forward to feedback. And feel free to connect with Rohil. He's given his email, but be mindful that he's going to be also really busy running his company. So thank you, and over to you, Seema, to wrap up. If you're there, you're on mute, Seema. Seema, you're still on mute. Oh, well, I guess, Seema, you're on mute.
So since Seema is on mute, Ajay, I'm going to just take over from her because I think her connection is also bad. So thank you very much. Rohildev, I absolutely loved the talk. I mean, it's I'm a tech dinosaur. So for me, this almost sounds like science fiction. But it was awesome. I mean, really, thank you very much, because this is a very critical time for your startup. So to make the time for us to come and chat with us, thank you very much for coming in, talking to our students. Ajay, thanks a lot for joining us and for continuing to do the host work. For everybody who logged in and stayed on till the end, thank you very much for joining.
Maybe I just need just one request. I can quickly show you.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Through the lens. You will not get the complete experience, but you'll get some idea when I show through the lens. Give me a second.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Sure.
Give me a second.
Yes.
Can you really see it?
Yeah.
So this is a full-blown Microsoft PowerPoint app. Give me a second. I just need to position it properly. Right. So hard to capture through the camera.
Yeah. But we can get a sense of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I turn my head, I got Microsoft Excel, and over here, sorry, Microsoft Word and Excel. Give me a second. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, this is
right. So this is Word, Microsoft Excel, and I can edit the complete. Let me zoom a little bit. I can edit the complete PPT from here. Let me type something quickly.
That is so cool.
Right. Or I can change the images. If I want, I can open a new app. For example, let's say I opened this clock, and we got some space on the top as well. I can just bring this app into the top. So the top workspace we designed for widgets, or I can split this app with a things of the glasses.
Yeah, I think we could all get a good sense of how this would work.